Hello and welcome to a furious episode of the Creative Differences podcast. I'm Dallas and I'll be in the passenger seat for this episode because Demi is the Fast and Furious fan, so she's going to take the wheel and I'm just going to backseat drive for a bit.
And I'm Demi, and I gotta be honest with you guys. I've talked about how I don't like fandoms in the past, but the Fast and Furious fandom might be my favorite fandom that I've ever been a part of. Welcome to another episode of the Creative Differences podcast, your one-stop shop for movie reviews, Fancast Fridays, and Throwback Thursdays, and a number of other pop culture-related items. Today, as Dallas said, we will be discussing Fast and Furious, specifically The Fate of the Furious, the 8th installment in the Fast and the Furious series.
Yes.
Also, not only are we doing this in anticipation of F9, the Fast Saga, coming out tomorrow, but we are also doing this podcast because 2 days ago was the 20th anniversary of the release of The Fast and the Furious, the first ever Fast and Furious movie.
Yes, they have come so far.
It has been a long journey.
Man, those movies are different when they started.
Movies in general are different than when they started.
Yeah. We are missing Gabby and Colin. Gabby got arrested for car-related terrorism, and Colin got killed by Jason Statham. So, before we get into it, please like and subscribe, because Gavin Newsom recently undid all the COVID restrictions, so we're going to have to lock down again soon, and you're going to need a podcast to listen to. So, we got you.
We're here.
We got you.
So let's start with our first question, which is, when was the first time you watched this movie, and do you remember your reaction to it, I guess?
I was working at a movie theater.
Congrats.
Shout out to free tickets. And I want to say Kayla wanted to see it. A lot of times I watch movies because Kayla wants to see them.
Thank you, Kayla.
And I remember going in. I had seen Fast 5 in theaters when that came out. I didn't see 6 or 7 because a lot of times with franchises, I'll just leave. But this one came out and I was like, I like The Rock. Let's try it. I was like, I'm not going to think too hard because I know that they've been wilding out lately.
You're not supposed to think hard when you go see a Fast and Furious movie. I don't know why people think that's a thing you're supposed to do.
It's kind of like, I don't remember which episode you brought up the 3 brains with which you watch movies.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't like the term that people say, shut your brain off and watch the movie. It feels dismissive of whatever movie you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I will use it just because you're talking about the separate brains with which you watch the movie. So you can turn off 1 to 2 of them. And that's what I did. And I enjoyed it. And that was 4 years ago. And then I watched it again last night.
Yeah.
For the first time since.
I cannot believe it's been 4 years since we got a Fast and the Furious movie, which is the fault of Hobbs and Shaw coming out, which I was reminded of yesterday. But yeah, it's been 4 years since we've had a Fast and Furious movie. I saw this one in theaters when it came out. I was not working at a movie theater when it came out. I was in Monterey in college. I managed to convince a few people in my Saber Society club. Yes, I'm a lightsaber fanatic, and I'm that much of a nerd that I was in a club that met every Thursday. So I managed to convince a couple of people to go with me to go see it the Thursday night after our club meeting. I think Nick was the only person who was as excited as I was. Shout out to Nick. And I had a great time. I was super excited about going to see that movie. And I was not disappointed, but I'm also very rarely disappointed by the Fast and Furious franchise.
Yes, we don't have a section for this, so I want to get into that. Have you been a big fan since the first one?
I watched the first 2 when I was about 12 or 13.
Okay.
So that was maybe... The first one came out in 2001. I want to say the second one came out in 2003. So I think I might have seen it a year after the second one came out. I watched the second. I watched the second one first, as a matter of fact. Okay. I watched it at my uncle's house because we were watching it as a family, and then I eventually watched the first one later that year because I had never seen it.
That makes sense.
And then I was like, I love both of these movies, and for like a year, I was obsessed with cars. I know nothing about cars, mind you, but I was obsessed with cars after I watched those movies. I was like, I'm gonna get a car one day, and I'm gonna have like a custom paint job on it. It's going to be so dope. The Mitsubishi Evo 7 was my dream car for years because that was the car that Paul Walker drives in Too Fast, Too Furious.
Nice.
So yeah, and then I bought them on DVD at some point around 12 or 13. So that's how my love of Fast and Furious started, which is why now at the age of almost 29, you cannot tell me anything about Fast and Furious, bro.
A lot of times, people who are fans of a franchise, when it starts, will stop liking it when it changes direction a bit or starts to do something different.
It deviates, yeah.
Yeah, and there are franchises that I'm guilty of that with, but we don't need to get into that because that's not what this is about. So it's really nice to see someone who's been a fan from the beginning and rolls with all of the punches.
Yeah, there's literally only one Fast and Furious movie that like I wasn't a huge fan of, and that's the third one, which
Right.
a lot of people actually like that one because they find that one to be the most grounded.
I could see that.
I wasn't a fan of that one, possibly because that was the one where like none of the original cast was in it.
Yeah.
And I was like 14 or 15 when that one came out, so at that point I was kind of a bit of a snob. But yeah, I was kind of disappointed. But I have seen that one, and I think I own the DVD of it.
Interesting.
But it's just not my favorite.
I feel it.
And I thought the drifting was cool.
Yeah. I remember people were so into drifting after that movie came out. People who, one, probably didn't have cars yet, and two, would not know how to drift if they did. Why are you guys so obsessed with this thing you saw?
Because it's cool looking,
Yeah,
dude.
it did look super cool.
But the best part about 3 was that we got Han out of that movie.
Han was so dope.
And the continuation of the use of Han after that.
Yeah.
That made 3 worth it to me.
I feel it.
Was that Han, I loved that character. And to see him continue to return in these movies, I was like, yeah, I like him. So that made this movie worth it.
Are you telling me that Bow Wow wasn't the highlight of the movie for you?
No. I was happy to see Bow Wow in that movie, though,
Me
at
too.
that age.
I was like,
Yeah.
hey, look, it's Bow Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he faded out until this week.
Until 9.
He's coming back.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Actually, the same thing with basically the main dude in the movie
Oh,
as
yeah.
well. Because he's in
4?
7.
7.
Yes, he pops up in 7.
Okay.
And I mean, technically, Bow Wow pops up in 7 too.
Okay.
But like new footage was shot with him for 7. And now they're both back for 9. But we'll get into that later.
Yes, we have a section for that later.
We do.
Back to this. Was directed by F. Gary Gray, who made Friday, Set It Off, Straight Outta Compton, and a bunch of music videos. So this is probably the whitest thing he's done.
Which is funny because it's not a very white movie either.
Yeah, it's just, his movies are so black. Like you say, Friday, Set It Off.
Straight Outta
I
Compton.
think Ice Cube's Today Was a Good Day video. Like this dude.
And he got this job, I think, almost immediately after Straight Outta Compton came out.
That makes sense. Because, yeah, this came out a couple years later.
Yeah.
So you had to get right to it.
Like shortly after Straight Outta Compton became like a box office hit, like there was the news that he was coming on to direct 8 for Fast and Furious.
Yeah, this dude be getting busy. Shout out to him. It was written by Chris Morgan, who has written every Fast and Furious movie aside from the first 2.
And he didn't write 9.
I thought he wrote.
I don't believe he wrote 9.
Okay.
But he did write Hobbs and Shaw.
Yes, I saw he wrote something after this when it was Hobbs and Shaw. So yeah, he knows what he likes. He also wrote 47 Ronin, which is different from this, but you know we got to mix it up with the shout outs.
He's really good at these though.
Yes, he found his niche and has been doing it ever since. The movie stars Vin Diesel, Dwayne Johnson, Jason Statham, Michelle Rodriguez, Tyrese Gibson, Ludacris, and Charlize Theron, among a bunch of other people, but we'd be here all day if we listed everyone in this movie. The summary, according to IMDb, says, when a mysterious woman seduces Dominic Toretto into the world of terrorism and a betrayal of those closest to him, the crew face trials that will test them as never before. Yep, that's what happens.
Accurate.
So, Demi,
Yeah.
what do you think of the story?
Well, first off, I do want to say, so one of the things I love about Fast and Furious, I know a lot of people will like make fun of it for like the family aspect or whatever, but like it's like legitimately one of my favorite parts of these movies.
Yeah.
Frankie Gilmore from Discussing Film, which is one of our favorite sources for movie news. We get
shout
a
out to
lot
them.
of our news from
Shout
them.
out to Andrew Salazar.
Yeah, the homie. But he wrote in an article about the Fast and Furious series, it is Mission Impossible by way of a daytime soap opera.
Interesting.
And I love that about it because that's absolutely how I feel about it. Like the drama itself is kind of a soap opera. As,
Yeah.
You know, we get, especially in this movie, I feel more so than the rest of them.
Definitely this one.
But like they're made to be fun and they're like effortlessly diverse. Like I said, people joke about the family theme, but like these movies are absolutely genuinely sincere about that theme. Like they're not playing you as like, yeah, it's about family, whatever. Like, no, they mean it.
They're
And
about that family.
yeah, and it's almost like they mean it to the point where like, and the article I'm talking about also talks about this. It's not just the characters themselves are a family, but the audience also is part of this Fast and Furious family.
Interesting.
Which is, you feel that. Like we go back to these movies because we feel like we are a part of it as much as these characters are.
Right.
I feel like the Fast and Furious fan base probably feels that a lot more than most franchises do.
Probably.
Especially because Vin Diesel, like the way Vin Diesel uses social media to include the audience into like the filmmaking process, it feels like we're being included, even if we're not actually doing anything active outside of watching the movie itself.
Yeah, this is one of the less toxic fandoms out there because it just seems like every big fandom. Of course, every group has some.
You've got some bad eggs in all of them.
Exactly, but I don't ever see tweets or articles about Fast and Furious fans harassing someone off of Twitter or something.
No.
Like, it's not Star Wars, it's not Marvel, it's not
DC.
Yeah, oh my God, DC.
And that's why I said, like, this is probably, I was thinking about this a couple weeks ago. I was like, this is actually probably my favorite fandom to be a part of.
Yeah.
Because we watch the movie, we talk about it, and we have fun, and then we disappear until the next movie comes out.
Right. He was like, oh yeah, this was dope. The cars were dope. The action shots, Vin Diesel was cool. All right, see you in a couple of years.
The only people who give us problems are the people who don't actually watch these movies. So, like...
Yes, the anti-fandoms.
Exactly. So, whatever. But I do think, like, for 8 in particular, this particular story, the thing that I thought that they did a great job of was changing it up. Because every Fast and Furious movie since 5 basically is the team gets a job and they got to work together to do this job. In this movie, they switched it up by being like, well, what would it take for Dominic Toretto to turn on his team? And because he's the leader of the team, how does the team function without their leader, and how can they get him back?
Right.
And I think that was an interesting thing to add to this particular story. I remember when the trailer came out for it, I was in my dorm room watching it. They had a live stream. It was like a whole live stream in New York, and they were interviewing the cast and stuff, and then they did the trailer. And I remember watching the trailer and seeing that Dom was going to betray everyone, and I was like, oh, what? Dominic Toretto, our family man, he's betraying the whole squad? What? It's that question of, how do you make Dominic Toretto turn? How do you make him go against like everything that makes this man believe in what he believes, which is family,
right? The
core of this man.
Yeah, which is interesting because I don't know what it was, but those couple years, because this was 2017?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2016 to 2017, we had so much of our good guys are fighting each other.
Yeah.
It was Civil War, Dawn of Justice. I think even the Transformers movie that came out, I think in 2017, Optimus is just whooping on the Autobots. And it's like, yo, what had happened to everyone? Why is everyone so cynical now?
Yeah, it's like we went through a cynical phase.
We really did. But I'm glad we made it out. But yeah, this story, it was I guess, I still don't think I've seen the sixth one, so I can't talk about how much it's a change of pace, but, you know, when he's all about family, and then he's the antagonist for the family for a good amount of the movie. It's
basically
definitely
the whole movie,
yeah.
You know, now that you mentioned 6 does have kind of a similarity, but it's quite different because in 6, it's Letty going against the team.
Oh,
and
that was Letty, when she had amnesia?
Yeah, she had amnesia. So it's kind of different because it's like, she don't remember nobody, of course. Like,
right, I don't know y'all niggas.
Yeah, it's not the same.
I don't rock with y'all like that.
I don't rock with y'all. But it still feels different because Letty's not the leader of the team. And by that point, Letty had been gone for an entire, 2 movies. Because
I think she, quote unquote, dies in 4.
Yeah, she dies in 4 supposedly.
And then in
that was a moment for me. That was hard.
I was just like, whoa, did they just kill Letty?
It was because she was in Avatar at the time.
Oh right.
That's how early it was. This was 2009. Yeah. So she was filming Avatar or something. So she couldn't be in Fast and Furious as much as they would like her to be. So they killed her off. Which
is crazy because since then, this franchise has gotten 5 movies and Avatar is still working on their second one.
Exactly.
Get it together, James Cameron.
We do this. I will say that I also think that 8 is a really good setup for Hobbs and Shaw.
Yes.
Which I also liked.
I feel like every scene with Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham,
it's just a spinoff.
It feels like a backdoor pilot for Hobbs and Shaw.
I was totally about to say it's a backdoor pilot.
It's just a bunch of advertisements for, hey, we know you want to see these two in a movie together. Don't worry about if it makes sense and how much they should hate each other. Just watch them insult each other because you're going to get that for 2 hours. What's
crazy is, and there's been a lot of discourse about it, especially around the time that this movie came out, because it was, this dude killed Han. He can't be part of the squad. He can't be part of us. But I guess it does kind of make sense for him to team up with Hobbs because Hobbs ain't part of the squad.
It's a weird,
what does he care?
It's weird because Hobbs is, and I think that is not necessarily a drawback, but kind of a drawback from the strength of the found family aspect. Yeah. Because everyone feels like they're part of the family now. So it feels like Hobbs is part of the family.
Yeah.
And Han was part of the family. But Hobbs didn't really know Han like that.
Yeah, he didn't interact with Han.
Yeah, so he probably wouldn't care much. But they've already established how much he hates Shaw. Because I think the first time they meet, doesn't Shaw blow him out of a window or something?
Yes, because, he hates Shaw for, actual personal reasons.
Right, he hates him. I hate this dude for my own reasons.
Not for the Han reasons that the rest of the family, you know. Although I guess at the end of the movie, though, they do let Shaw eat with the family, and it's like, yo, fam, you don't belong here.
I was sitting there just thinking, yo, we're gonna let this dude sit here?
You get one dinner and that's it.
Right, like, all right, you brought the baby, now you got to dip. You're not invited to the cookout.
Yeah, I was like, all right, well, but I mean, Fast 9 is gonna alleviate that.
Yes, on his back.
Talk about that later. Yeah, I think the only story point in this movie that I was not a huge fan of was by the way, guys, we're going to do spoilers because it's a Throwback Thursday, but was the killing of Elena.
Oh. Okay.
I'm never a big fan of fridging.
Yeah.
It's not my thing.
Man.
But like, here's the thing. Like, I hate fridging.
Right.
Because you just kill women for man pain, and it's really annoying, and it's it's a story point that happens way too often. I need you guys to stop, please. There are other people to kill. But it's, at least in this franchise, because in most other franchises, you don't have as many women as the Fast and Furious franchise has.
Right.
Which is what I mean when I say effortlessly diverse. It's
right.
like, we've got women, we've got people of different races. Like, it's all over the place with this movie. But yeah, that was probably one of the only points in the movie that I was like, I don't like that. Don't like that at all. I don't like that we just had to get rid of Elena like that. Like, she didn't deserve all that.
It was funny because obviously her situation wasn't funny. But when I watched the movie in the theater, I had seen Fast 5 and not the next two.
Yeah.
So I was so confused as to who this woman was.
Oh my God.
I was like, is that...
It's Chris Hemsworth's wife.
Yeah, and I was like, is that Hobbs' partner from Fast 5? Why is she here? Why is Vin so upset about this? This is a work acquaintance? Like, who is this person? And then it's like, they have a baby? When did they have what?
So the funny thing is about the baby thing, though, was this is the only time where I've literally had to tell myself, don't think about it too hard. Because I was trying to figure out the timeline of how that worked between like 6, 7, and 8. Because she says that she found out she was pregnant shortly after Dom went to find Letty.
Right, after he found out she was alive.
And that was 6.
Goodness gracious.
I think she's in 7 for a short amount of time.
In one of the movies, I think she falls out a window.
That was 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, was the child...
She was pregnant.
Yeah. Wait, I was like, were you pregnant or was the child born yet? Or where was the kid? I had to literally just tell myself, no. Don't do this. The child is there strictly for plot purposes and so that we can name him Brian at the end of the movie. And that's it. You know better than to think too hard about this.
I was like, what? They have a baby. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, Elena had your child? What? All right.
But it's good to know that seeing the two movies in between wouldn't have made that make a lot more sense.
I mean, it made sense that she would be the one that he would have a child with. The timeline did not make sense.
Right. The baby is just like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah, I was like, I can understand you guys having a baby. I'm just not sure where this timeline is working out. But I just had to stop and just let it happen. I was like, it's happening. This is what's happening on screen. And yeah, this is what we're doing. But yeah, the story is a Fast and Furious story.
Also, I want to clarify something that I said earlier for people who don't binge watch or binge listen to our podcast. The thing that you said about the 3 brains.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
People don't know what I'm talking about. So you said...
I said that I typically watch movies with 3 brains. My technical brain, where I'm critiquing the technical aspects of the film. The social justice brain, where I'm critiquing, how does this look socially? Right. And then my just enjoyment brain, where I'm just like, I'm having fun at the movies. Right.
Okay, cool. Got it. That's for anyone who is like,
that's a recap
what are y'all talking about
of
with
last
3 brains?
Week's episode. The 3 brain thing is probably going to start coming up a lot more often.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a nice little motif for us. Like, 2 of my brains like this movie.
Yeah, that's my thing.
And it's funny because it's something that you say it and it sounds weird. Like, what do you mean 3 brains? And then you say what you mean. And it's something that, oh, yeah, I do that. I just never thought about it in such a compartmentalized way.
Yeah.
But I do watch movies and think, maybe don't do that with the black character.
Yeah. Because there are plenty of movies that I've watched where my enjoyment brain completely outranks my technical and social justice brain. It's just like, no, we had fun.
Right. It's like, I'm here for fun.
We definitely had fun. Don't overthink this too much. From Justin and Kelly. What's up? So
what a deep cut that was.
So characters.
There's so many.
We've been dealing with all these characters for 20 years now. Well, not all of them, but most of them for 20 years now. I don't know if you want to. I don't know how you want to do this. I have short notes on like almost every character in this movie.
Okay. I mean, do you want to just go down your list and then I'll jump in when you get to Hobbs?
Oh, I was never going to get to Hobbs. Anyway, so.
Good. I'll take Hobbs and you take the rest.
Cool. So I've got Dom and Letty, who are one of my favorite fictional relationships ever, possibly because it's been like 20 years with these characters being together. It was to the point I told you that 4 was hard for me when Letty
She
died.
died.
Because it was
That was
like,
rough.
wait, what? Why? And then 5, when he gets with Elsa Pataki's character, who we just mentioned, who has his child, his baby mama.
Yes.
It was like, I think I sat through 5 and was like, no. Yeah,
like, this is weird.
No, Letty. And then, they have the end credit scene in 5, which was like, hey guys, Letty's still alive. And I was like, oh yeah, she is. We're definitely getting Letty and Dom back together.
Right, that's the soap opera thing.
Yeah, so like, Dom and Letty are like a couple that I'm like, yeah, I'm rooting for you guys. Always rooting for you guys. That's why 6 is probably my favorite Fast and Furious movie. They are the definition of ride or die.
Yes.
And they absolutely mean it. And,
Literally.
I mean, man, Dom has jumped over a freaking bridge for her.
He jumped off of so many things.
And it's great. And, in this movie, there are like several I love that Letty feels betrayed throughout the entirety of this movie, because it really does give Michelle Rodriguez something to work with, other than being just the tough girl, which she usually has to be in these movies.
It's like, oh, she can fight and drive, but now she can emote.
Yeah, now she's emoting. Like, one of my favorite scenes is when she gets the briefcase, the nuclear football.
Right, from a Game of Thrones guy, right?
Yeah. And she says, I know you're not going to shoot me. Mm-hmm. And then she walks away. But then as soon as somebody's about to shoot her, he's like, no.
Right.
So like, I can let her walk away, but I'm not going to let you shoot her.
Right, we're not doing that.
We ain't doing that out here. It's also like his wife, Yeah, when their marriage was revealed in 7, I think I almost started crying in the theater. Like, I was like, they've been married this whole time?
Remind me of something. Was he wearing a tank top when they got married?
I think so, maybe.
I love how much Vin Diesel and Dwayne Johnson wear tank tops in these movies. Like, yo,
why not?
You're getting married, bro. You ain't got a shirt, a jacket, something.
Nah.
Thumbs out.
Tyrese's Roman is always the perfect comedic relief.
Oh, Tyrese.
And his dynamic with Ludacris's Tej is magnificent. Like, they are never disappointing. They are always funny.
I do love Ludacris.
Oh, it's so great. I love them together because I think Tej just always has the upper hand because Tej is smarter.
Right.
And Roman is just like, well, I'm braggadocious and I'm hot. Yeah. So
I'm Tyrese.
Yeah, exactly. And then we come to Ramsey, who is played by Natalie Emmanuel, who I love from Game of Thrones. And I was super excited that she was joining the franchise when she did. Ramsey is one of my favorite fictional computer hackers. Probably because she's being played by Natalie Emmanuel.
Probably, yes.
But I do love Ramsey. And I'm just glad that she's in these movies. She's great. I love her. And then Cypher, played by Charlize Theron.
Cypher and her dreads.
We don't talk about that. Cypher is probably my favorite Fast and Furious villain.
Interesting.
I love how they connected her into previous films.
Right, with Jaimon and Owen.
Yeah.
Something I do with these movies is sometimes I'll say the actor's name and sometimes I'll say the character's name because whatever I think of first, Jaimon. I'm still not sure what movie he gets introduced in. Is it 6?
He's in 7.
7.
He's the one who...
he's in the thing.
He kidnaps Natalie Emmanuel's character, as a matter of fact.
Right, yeah, because she's like, she's connected to someone I'd like to forget.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was watching the theater, I was like, Jaimon Hansu's in these movies?
The great thing about Fast and Furious movies is that the people you least expect to be in them are in them because these movies are fun.
They just pop up.
Literally, they're we're going to do these movies because they're fun. Charlize Theron is one of them. Mm-hmm. But I love... Cypher has this philosophical BS that she tries to spew, and I love whenever she does it. She
really gets into it, yeah.
Because I'm I don't know if I actually believe what you're spewing right now, but I like that you believe in something. And she's just, man, I love watching Charlize Theron in this role, and I'm just so excited that she's going to be back in F9 I think it's because Cypher puppeteers things.
Yes.
And I like that she's a puppeteer.
Yeah, so she's the behind the scenes person.
Yeah, she makes other people do stuff for her, and I think that's a lot of fun.
Yes, and then with a different haircut.
Yeah, we got rid of the dreads. got rid of the locks. I was saying earlier, just the most random actors will show up in these movies. Mm-hmm. So Helen Mirren, for instance.
Yeah.
And this is just because Helen Mirren said, I want to be in a Fast and Furious movie because I just think I would have a lot of fun. And they wrote her into it after she said that.
Yeah, and I would too.
Yeah, exactly. Helen Mirren wants to be in our action series.
You can be Jason Statham's mom. Why not? You're British. He's British.
Why not? We'll toss you in here. I love that she's in these movies because it's just so...
Yeah, she looks like she's enjoying herself.
Yeah, I think it just goes to show how much fun people have making these movies. Most of the time. There was drama, but most of the time.
Most of the time. But, when they're not, then we get a spinoff, so...
I mean, we were gonna get a spinoff regardless.
Oh man.
But yes, you can talk about Hobbs.
Yes, speaking of the spinoff, Hobbs. Hobbs is so great, and I am certain it's because I love Dwayne Johnson so much.
Probably.
Dwayne Johnson is a treasure. There are so many lines that Hobbs has that should not work, but Dwayne Johnson has made a career out of taking the ridiculous and saying it with so much charisma and confidence. This goes back to wrestling. Wrestling is also a soap opera. It's basically, it's just the most dramatic and ridiculous thing you can think of. And he came to prominence in wrestling because he was the best person on the mic at just, I'm going to roast you and I'm going to threaten you and I'm going to say the most ridiculous things in the world and everyone's going to love it because I have all the charisma that exists.
Daddy's got to go to work.
Just everything he says. Oh my God. When I saw in the trailer, I will beat you like a Cherokee drum.
Yes.
I was like, all right, I'll probably have to see this one. And that whole scene's amazing because they just...
That is such a good scene.
F. Gary Gray was probably looking at Dwayne Johnson was like, you probably got superpowers. We're just going to say you have superpowers. This entire scene, none of it makes sense, but the stuff he's doing is so great. If anyone could do it, it's Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah. We also have Scott Eastwood is in this movie.
Yes, Little Nobody,
which I thought was funny because I think when it was first announced that he was going to be in the movie, like the whole fandom just kind of assumed that he was going to be like some sort of Brian replacement. He is not. He is definitely not.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, at the time, because we were like, well, we lost Paul, so we don't have Brian anymore. So we figured that they were going to just try and make like a surrogate. They did not. We have Little Nobody, and he's kind of funny. Actually, it's funny just to watch everybody else crap on him the entire movie. And then also we have Kurt Russell as Mr. Nobody.
I do love Kurt Russell as well. Mr. Nobody is great. He just has this air of, I don't care. Yeah. And everything's going to be fine. When they're tracking where Dom and Cypher are, and he's like, oh, that's interesting. That's here. It's like, bro, they're about to attack you. Speak up a little faster. Tell them, hey, they're coming.
He said it so slowly. It was
he's like, oh, that's interesting. Why is that interesting? Because that's right here. Place blows up, and we never see this man look worried. He's in an explosion.
What's funny is he gets shot in 7, I think, and is completely fine.
I bet he's chilling.
He was chilling.
After they attack the next scene, he's just, dust himself. Oh, yeah, well, so what do you guys want to do? Yo, but he's great. Kurt Russell's awesome.
I guess if you need a leader.
Yeah, you want someone who's going to be relaxed.
Calm in the face of danger.
He's the definition of that.
I think we got through like basically every character. I mean, we didn't talk about Shaw, but like we kind of talked about Shaw earlier.
Yeah. He's Jason Statham.
Doing Jason Statham stuff.
Exactly, he's doing what he does.
Visuals and sound.
I feel like you can kick this one off, just like you've kicked all of them off, because I know that a lot of people really love the soundtracks of these movies.
Oh my gosh, the soundtrack slaps. That's actually my first note under visuals and sound.
That's why I wanted you to kick it off because I know you're one of those people.
They do, man, every single time. Listen, Fast and Furious never fails to give us a good soundtrack, and then every single time I watch this movie, I always forget that it starts with Hey Ma, which is J Balvin, Pitbull, and Camila Cabello. Right. And I was obsessed with that song 4 months before the movie came out because Camila Cabello was on it. It was like shortly after she left Fifth Harmony. So it was like one of the few songs I could listen to with her on it that wasn't in the group. Right. Although I did listen to Fifth Harmony even after she left. But like it was one of the few songs I could listen to that was like her solo career. Mm-hmm. And there's an English version and there's a Spanish version. The Spanish version came out first. And let me tell you, I like the Spanish version more than I like the English version, even though I can't tell you anything that they're saying. Of course. But yeah, I was like obsessed with that song forever. I have both of the versions on my phone. And then Speaker Box by, I think it's called Bass Nectar. Oh my gosh, it was on my workout playlist while I was in university for like ever. Is that the Prison Break song? It's the Prison Break song. I was like, that sounds like that. Something Bass Nectar would do. It is such a great song. It is a great workout song. It is a great workout song. One time, I think I worked out for like an hour with it on repeat. I can see that. Just stay hyped. Run through a prison, kill some guys. It keeps you hyped up. Those soundtracks just slap every single time. They know what they're doing. Even Gabby acknowledges that they know what they're doing with their soundtracks. Yeah. If you guys are wondering what I mean, you guys can check out our Throwback Thursday from a couple years ago when we did Fast and Furious 7. Yeah, there's like a Venn diagram of things Demi likes, things Gabby likes, and in the middle, it's this soundtrack for Fast and Furious movies and the Latinx representation for Fast and Furious movies. That's about it. Yes. Everything else Demi likes about these movies, and Gabby's probably not a fan. Exactly. But, common ground. That's important. Yeah. Soundtrack always slaps on these, though. Yes. Visuals, pretty cars.
Dope looking
Always.
explosions.
Always pretty cars.
Some pretty cool fight choreography.
Yeah, I was gonna say last time we talked about stunt choreography for the Hitman's Bodyguard.
Yeah. They have some dope. I think it's always fun to see The Rock work in his finishing move from his wrestling career. He had a move called the Rock Bottom, which when you actually think about it, it's not a great move. He just kind of picks you up and drops you on your back.
Oof.
But
Oh, is that the move he does when they spin the camera around?
yes.
Nice.
Yeah, that one. And I think he's done it in another one of these movies. At least once.
Wouldn't be surprised.
But yeah, it did look really cool when he did it, and they spun the camera with it. I was like, that makes that move look a lot more devastating. Also, the fact that he's a giant.
And he does it to two guys at the same time in this movie, I think.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah.
stunt sequences I also have on my notes. Always incredible in these movies.
Mm-hmm. And that's one thing about Jason Statham is he's gonna give you some great fights.
Yeah, the sequence towards the end of the movie in Act 3 when he's on the plane and shooting up
The
those
baby.
guys. Oh my gosh, it's one of my favorite action sequences.
He's dope.
It's so funny. And like this baby is giving all the expressions.
This is an adorable baby.
So
And
cute.
I was talking to Kayla about this is the friendliest baby I've ever seen. That baby meets strangers for the duration of the movie, and is
I don't know any of you and my mother's dead. So
Right, he's welcoming to everyone. He sees Vin Diesel's like, Dada, like you don't know him, and then he sees Jason Statham, he's just smiling like, yo,
I feel like Elena just showed him a lot of pictures of
like
Dom.
look, these are the people you might meet. Please
This
don't.
is your dad.
But yeah, that baby was cool as hell.
Yeah,
All
no.
babies should be like that.
Earlier, I mentioned that quote about this being Mission Impossible by way of soap operas. And I do,
Right.
the Mission Impossible thing, I think, comes from the fact that both series are consistently trying to outdo themselves with every movie,
Yes.
with every action sequence that they do. We did this last movie. Okay, how can we top that? What's going to be the next best thing that we can do and make it bigger? I remember 4 got a lot of backlash because there was a lot of CGI with the cars.
Oh,
So I think since 5, they've been doing a lot of practical stuff with cars and like how far can you go with these cars?
Right.
And what can you do with them? I mean, we had cars coming out of a plane in a movie one time.
yeah.
Parachutes. Like what? Like these movies are ridiculous. We've got like a submarine in this one.
Submarine, a tank.
We have self-driving cars in this one. Cars
Oh,
coming.
man,
I
yeah.
remember when the behind-the-scenes footage came out from when the cars are in the parking garage and they all go down.
Right, yeah.
The footage for that came out way before the movie. It was like while they were filming it. Somebody like got like paparazzi footage of it.
Man,
and
that
it's
sounds
just
insane.
like these actual cars just coming out of this parking garage. And it's just like, bro, like it's like I said with Mission Impossible, like they do this. This is what
Yeah.
they do. In every movie it just they try and get better and better with it. There's a reason why action movies that are related to cars immediately get compared to Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
Because there is no other series like this.
Like they've been doing this for 20 years.
Yeah, they've been doing it for 20 years, and they've they get better every time. Well, with the action sequences, and there have been a lot of films that have tried to rip off what Fast and Furious is, and they have not been successful.
Right.
Because there is something that Fast and Furious has captured and has managed to perfect that other movies can't seem to do. There's a reason why like Mission Impossible and Fast and Furious are like action movies that like are iconic for a
right,
reason.
and have been going for 2 decades.
Yeah, there is no other action movie like Fast and Furious.
Yeah, they use cars the way Tom Cruise uses insanity.
His
Which
body?
is funny because when you brought up Mission Impossible, I was thinking, on one hand, it would be incredible and hilarious for Tom Cruise to pop up in these movies. But on the other hand, they do things to Dom that would kill a human being.
Oh, absolutely.
And Tom Cruise would 100% try to do these things in real life if he was in this movie. Like, he's like, oh yeah, I'll drive the car off the mountain.
No,
like,
no,
no, Tom.
CGI.
Tom, you're not going to be in the car. I'm like, nah, I got to be in the car. Like, Tom, stop. He would get himself killed.
But one more thing about the visuals and sound that I do want to mention is that I love that these films travel to new locations as often as
yeah.
possible. And there's like always something like a new location that I've never been to see. Like there was, I think 7, they went to Abu Dhabi. This movie was the first time that they had ever gone to New York.
Really?
Yeah. The first movie was initially written to be in New York. And then David Ayer came on to rewrite the script. And he said, well, I will come on and rewrite the script as long as you guys let me put it in LA. Because
Right.
Ayer's from LA.
He's all about LA.
So the first movie takes place in LA. But it was supposed to take place in New York. So
Interesting.
finally kind of comes around circle. Now they've finally made it to New York. You know, they've got London in a couple of films. This is the first film to have shot in Cuba since the 60s.
Really?
Yeah, because of the embargo.
I guess that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, it was a really big deal that they had made, that Universal and F. Gary Gray were like talking to the U.S. government and the Cuban government and were like, hey, we want to film here. and which is why the first, I thought it was so cool, the first sequence of actually getting to see like Havana.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which is also really cool that Camila Cabello is on the soundtrack because she's got a whole song called Havana.
She sure does. It's very famous.
It's very popular. But yeah, I just think that it's so cool that the Fast and Furious movies do that. And we'll see what happens with Fast and Furious 9.
Yeah, they're going somewhere.
They have to. It's what they do. What's your favorite aspect of this movie?
Hobbs.
You know what? I should have known that.
Of course. It's got to be Hobbs. Because I have two favorite scenes. One, obviously the prison break scene. I saw that in the theater. I was like, yep, this is my favorite scene in the movie.
It's a great scene.
I forgot about the first scene he's in this movie where he's coaching the soccer game.
Oh, yeah. And he has the girls do the haka?
He has those girls do the haka and those little white girls in the other team. One of them straight up says, I don't want to play anymore, and walks away. And that's the perfect way. I was like, it's so good. But yeah, that scene and prison break scene are my favorites. Hobbs is great. Every ridiculous line, I'm like, that's The Rock.
Oh my goodness. Favorite aspect of this film for me, everything. No, I'm kidding. No, I think it is the family aspect. When people ask me like why I go back to Fast and Furious, I know it's a weird thing to say like the characters, but it is actually the characters. I am actually emotionally attached to these people. They might not be the most complex, in-depth characters you've ever seen in your life, but I believe in them and I want them to succeed, and I come back for that family aspect. Because like I said earlier, they made us feel like part of the family. So now I want to see the family succeed. Because this could just be any run-of-the-mill action film. But like, I think it really helps that these characters are really what draws you in. And I think that the cast's chemistry together also really meshes well. And that it really helps. I don't think this movie could have survived as long as it had without Vin Diesel and Paul Walker's love of each other and their love of this franchise as a whole.
Right.
And now, like, they've brought other people into it, and they love working on this franchise just as much as Paul and Vin have loved working on it.
Yeah.
So you feel it.
Definitely.
You feel it. That's why I come back to these movies. Because say what you want about the plot being weird or ridiculous or whack, but, like, there's a lot of heart in these movies.
Yeah.
And you can't fake that. So that leads us to future of the franchise, basically.
Yeah, which is interesting because you were talking about the family thing. And I like that it is, for the most part, all about found family.
Yeah.
Because, Dom does have a sister, but...
She'll be in this one.
Yeah. But aside from that, it is, not just your biological family, but the family you make along the way.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because, oh my God, he has a brother.
Yeah, same.
And he's the bad guy. And it just goes to show that he's all about found family. Like, I feel like every time he says family, he should whisper found right in front, because like, bro, you have a brother, and not only does he hate you, but none of us knew about him. It's
so funny to me because like even since the first movie, it has always been about found family, because it was Brian coming into this world, this gearhead community, with Dom being the top alpha, and he had Letty as his girlfriend, he had Mia, his sister, and then he had Vinny, and he had his boys who.
And who was Vinny to him again?
Vinny was just his homie.
Okay.
He just had 3 homeboys and Letty,
right,
who used to stay at his crib with him and his sister. They were a family.
Yeah,
they did everything together. So family has always been like the core thing outside of being a heist movie. It's always been the thing. So yeah, watching the 9 trailer last year, it was like, you have a brother,
right?
And you and Mia just don't. What did he do?
You guys have never talked about this man.
What did he do?
It's been 20 years. We've never heard either of you mention your brother.
And y'all must really, he must have did something bad for y'all to just not even want to communicate with this dude. Like,
I need someone.
It's
probably,
like the Eternals.
Right? Like, where y'all niggas been? I need someone, probably Tyrese, to say a line along the lines of, for someone who talks about family so much, you really kept this nigga secret. Like, you got a whole secret brother out here?
Yeah, you have a whole secret brother that just got taken advantage of by Charlize Theron. What's happening? What's up?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I like that Fast and Furious continuously tries to find new crazy things to add to their story. Because what? You have a brother after all these years of talking about family? Like, it's like they take like their own motto and they're like, all right, how do we flip this?
It's like family. Yep, he has a brother.
Yep.
Which also I think is interesting because, Dwayne Johnson is not in this one, presumably.
He is not.
But they did go out and get another super charismatic wrestler. And The Rock is the face of wrestling pretty much in general, but specifically for these eras past. Like,
Yeah, the current era is John Cena.
right, John Cena. There are eras in wrestling, and like I'm a weird kind of wrestling nerd who everything before a certain year, I'm all about it, and then I just gave up on it completely. But like The Rock ran the eras like the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression Era, all that stuff, and then now they have a more PG, family friendly
That's
kind
nice.
of vibe. And John Cena is the face of that, even though he came in before that. So his character before was a lot less family friendly.
Oh, no.
But now he's I'm on Fruity Pebbles boxes, and I'm doing like Scooby Doo cameos.
And I'm doing firefighter family movies.
Yeah, I can be the face of your franchise, but on the other side, I can be in The Suicide Squad.
Yes.
And I can be in Blockers and Trainwreck. John Cena has a lot of range. I'm just disappointed that, from what I can expect, he's not going to get to show his comedy chops in this movie. He looks super serious.
He does, but you never know with these movies.
That's true. You never know. But John Cena is surprisingly funny. I did not realize how funny he was until recent years. I was like, this dude has got it. Like the Suicide Squad trailer, he's got it. Even on wrestling, like I see clips sometimes, and there's one time when he's coming in, one of the quote unquote bad guys is talking to him, and then he gets on the mic and he says a line that it goes back to that, have them say something ridiculous with that charisma.
Yeah,
and he says, I am John Cena. You may know me from being John Cena. And it was so great. It's like the cockiest thing you can say. But I love it.
The thing is, even if he's not funny in this movie, I mean, the Suicide Squad is only a couple months away anyway.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, outside of John Cena playing Dom and Mia's brother, which, by the way, still don't know what ethnicity the Toretto siblings are supposed to be, because Vin Diesel is half black and Jordana Brewster is Latina. So not sure what's happening. John Cena's probably white. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I mean, Toretto sounds Italian, ?
Literally this series, just like, it's like I said, effortlessly diverse to the point where it's like, I don't know what ethnicity these characters are supposed to be. They're racially ambiguous, but it doesn't matter. We're rolling with it. Everybody else is ethnically, diverse.
It's like Brandy Cinderella. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. And spoiler alert, if you have not seen the trailer and you don't want to know this, but Han is back.
Yes.
Which I cried in the trailer when I saw it. Because I was not expecting Han to be back. I watched it and was like, I almost wished I hadn't watched this trailer. But at the same time, I'm glad that I watched it because, dear God.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about Han being back. Han is one of the best characters. And I remember, because he dies he dies, quote unquote,
right.
now. Second person that we've resurrected because these are not superhero movies. He dies in the third movie. Mm-hmm. And I remember when the fourth movie came out, he was in it. And he was like, oh, I'm probably going to try and go to Japan. And that was like the beginning of the movie. And I was like, no, you guys are going to send Han to die? And then he came back in the fifth movie. Right. And it was just like, oh, thank God, he's still alive. He didn't make it to Japan. And then he's in the sixth movie. And it's just like, all right, cool. But then Giselle died in the sixth movie. And it was just like, dang it, you guys are going to go kill him off now, aren't you? And then they did in the credit scene.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to have Han back. I love Han. And I think 9 is Justin Lin's return as the director of the Fast and Furious movies.
He did 7, right?
He did 7, and 7 was supposed to be his last. No, James Wan did.
Wait, dang it, I'm getting...
Yeah, the last one that Justin Lin did was Fast and Furious 6,
okay.
and he started at 3. So he was kind of like our go-to director, and then he stopped at 6. James Wan came in for 7. They lost Paul. F. Gary Gray came in for 8, and now Justin Lin is back for 9. And Justin Lin is probably the GOAT when it comes to directing Fast and Furious movies. So that's exciting. I'm very glad that he's back. Yeah, I expect what I always get out of a Fast and Furious movie. I expect a fun time at the movie theater.
Yeah.
For 2 to 2.5 hours, because I watched the director's cut of 8 yesterday. And I expect to have a good time. I expect to see these characters that I love so much. And then after 9 is done, we'll have 2 more Fast and Furious movies left. And then that's supposedly the end of the Fast and Furious saga, because it won't be the end of the franchise, because Hobbs and Shaw will probably still be going.
Wait, so after 9 there are 2 left?
Yeah. We have 10 and 11.
Oh. Why did I think they were stopping at 10? Was that the plan?
The plan that Vin and Paul always had was that 10 would be the end.
Right.
They were going to keep going to 10. And then I think at some point recently they've decided that they wanted to do a 2-parter. So 10 and 11 are the final.
Got it.
Are the final film.
All right.
Those are our goodbyes, which is cool.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to say goodbye to them quite yet.
Well, we can say goodbye to the audience.
Thank you guys for joining us as we talked about Fast and Furious and listening to me praise this movie franchise that most of you guys probably think is ridiculous, but it is, and we have fun with it.
Yeah. Pretty cars, pretty people.
And that's what it's always been.
Gotta have fun with that. So yes, as always, thank you for listening. Thank you, Crown Digital, Brandon, and Io for putting us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. To me, thank you for editing and putting us on YouTube, and for being the resident Fast and Furious fan of the podcast.
I'm the only one who's going to do it. Also, guys, make sure you guys tune in for our next episode, which is going to be my review of Fast and Furious 9, as well as us reviewing a couple of other movies that we're going to be behind on because I'm on vacation right now.
Yes, Demi's taking a much-needed vacation from everything. And
hopefully.
So yeah, stay tuned for that. More cars, more pretty people.
And some
Explosions.
Pixar movies.
Luca,
and possibly, finally, our review of The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard.
Yes, that's what I'm going to take over for. But yeah, let us know. Did you like The Fate of the Furious? Are you going to see F9? Are you ready for Han to finally come back?
Yes.
Let us know the answer to all these things on Twitter at y'all_different, Instagram and Tumblr, Creative Differences Podcast, or Facebook.com/Creative Differences PC. If you want to talk to me about how dope Dwayne Johnson is and always has been, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at a king named Simba.
Just realized we didn't talk about F9 possibly going to space. That might be a thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
I'm also happy that Jordana Brewster is back because, obviously she had to leave because Paul wasn't there.
Yes.
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dreamy Films. Dreamy is spelled DREEMI. Come talk to me about cool cars and cool movies. Thanks again for joining us.
Yes. And you can find Gabby on Twitter at Furious Furry. And you can find Colin on Twitter at Beat It Like a Cherokee Drum.
Oh, I can't wait for them to hear that one.
Yeah, those are their Twitters. They chose them.
I can hear Gabby screaming, "I'm not a furry" from here.
Yes. Get ready for that. All right, it's been different. Bye.
Bye.